Genesis 3, verse 15. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed, it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Deuteronomy 17, verse 3. And hath gone and served other gods, and worshipped them, either the sun or moon, or any of the host of heaven, which I have not commanded. Consider the cult of Saturn, the black cube of Saturn, all those occultists who worship Saturn. Consider the Roman pagan feast Saturnalia, etc. Matthew 13, verse 23. But he that received seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word, and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit, and bringeth forth, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Matthew 13, verse 38. The field is the world, the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. Luke 21, verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. The Satan worshippers used the Jupiter and Saturn Great Conjunction as a time marker to bring in their BR19 gene-editing abominations through the false prophet Pope Francis and the son of perdition Donald Trump, both of who are in bed with the synagogue of Satan, the World Health Organization, and the pharmakeia merchants of the earth. 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 3. For when they shall say, peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. The biological, chemical, genetic, spiritual, and physical destruction of the jabs from the BR19 venom. Americans started getting inoculated marked in the middle of December, shortly before the grand conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Revelation 12, verse 17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God, and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Let's revisit the Abraham Accord Trump commemorative silver half-shekel coin. Near the yellow arrow you can observe an engraving of the planet Saturn. Near the orange arrow, you can observe an engraving of Donald Trump's signature. Jupiter's giant red, stormy spot is visible on the Saturn engraving on the Trump Abraham Accord commemorative coin. Before I continue with the presentation, I want to emphasize that I'm not here to get into endless spinning globe Earth versus stationary, enclosed flat Earth debates. If you require more background information concerning the topics discussed in today's video, please watch a past video that I uploaded called Donald Trump, The Age of Aquarius. I'll post the link in the description section of this video. Important dates and events to consider. On May 24, 2017, Donald Trump met with Pope Francis in Vatican City, Rome. They both exchanged gifts, and Francis gave Trump a bronze medallion with an olive tree engraving on it and encouraged T-Dump to make peace, to which T-Dump replied, "We can use peace." Trump gave Francis a lotus flower sculpture and Martin Luther King Jr.'s memoirs. On May 15, 2020, Donald Trump launched Operation Warp Speed. On September 15, 2020, Trump signed the Abraham Accords between America, Bahrain, Israel, and the United Arab Emirates. Sudan, and I believe Morocco as well, would later sign the false peace deal at the start of 2021. On December 8, 2020, Trump held the Operation Warp Speed Summit in Washington, D.C. On December 14, 2020, Americans and people abroad started getting BR19 inoculated. As previously stated in the short video clip that you just watched, the grand conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn occurred on December 21, 2020. Also on December 21, 2020, Biden praised Donald Trump and his administration for the creation and success of Operation Warp Speed. Biden has been doing T-Dump's dirty work for him until he returns to the political stage. On December 25, 2020, Francis encouraged BR19 jabs equality for all people of the world. He would later go on to promote the abominations to his billions of followers in many media interviews at least a dozen times. And Trump hasn't stopped bragging about being the father of the Dragon Juice 19 shots. The worldwide cult of Saturn. I'm sure that many of us are aware of this cult. We've noticed these black cubes or tesseracts visible as monuments worldwide in countries like Australia, Denmark, America, Canada, etc. Saturn is the mysterious, sinister deity of the occult world, and Saturn worship is everywhere, from logos to secret societies. I'm sure most of us know about the Muslim pilgrimage to Mecca, Saudi Arabia. The word Kaaba, which means cube, and the word Allah, which means God, when combined together, make the word Kabbalah. I find this detail interesting. Muslims circle this gigantic dark cube whenever they are on their Hajj pilgrimage in Mecca. 2 Corinthians 4, verse 4. In whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine unto them. Yes, even Trump is in on it, even Trump. Also, consider the faction of the occult world, which is the secret society called the Shriners. A bunch of mainly old Caucasian men who wear Arabian fez hats that go around North America pretending they are philanthropists. Shriners are often found at the Sick Kids Foundation doing alleged charity work. The United Nations Meditation Room in New York City contains this incredibly heavy, dark rectangular prism, maybe even cube-like structure which rests in the middle of the room. How satanic is that? Notice the orange cubes everywhere on Melania Trump's long-sleeve dress, as she makes her way down a flight of stairs of an airplane ramp. I have zoomed in on her dress so you can get a better look at the orange cube. Trump literally has a giant dark black cube that rests on the roof of his Trump Tower, prime real estate in the country that is called Turkey. The Satanic Temple built a black cube monument in Belle Plaine, Minnesota, in 2017 to honor veterans. Check out the satanic pentagram engravings on the cube. Ornaments of Hampton Lodge number 204 in South Carolina. I am going to read a quote that I found on a website that belongs to a bunch of two-faced Freemasons. This black cube reminds us of the three lesser lights and the three great lights of Masonry, the Holy Bible, square and compasses. It is emblematic of the great emblem of our fraternity, the square and compasses with the letter G in the center. This black cube is also to remind us Trinity of God, and it is black because the glory of God is so great that everything close seems black. Observe two images of the North and South Pole's 9/11 memorials. Now let us take a much closer look at the American $1 bill. The Eye of Providence is also known as the all-seeing eye. Most people merely subconsciously register the floating eyeball in their minds, but the key is to use the zoom function on the image to capture more details and see what else the occultists have to hide. Here you should note the six-sided hexagons or hexagonal rings around some distorted white blob-looking figure at the center of the image. That white and very dark green, almost black, figure at the center of the eyeball is Saturnus, also known as Saturn, Cronus, Father Time, and the Grim Reaper. Saturn's ugly face looks like a silhouette of Donald Trump's ugly face. Saturn is often portrayed in Hollywood horror genre films as the Grim Reaper, some robed skeleton entity that goes around with a scythe killing people. Or maybe the Grim Reaper makes its presence known in these Hollywood films prior to someone dying. John 8, verse 4. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. For he is a liar, and the father of it. The ancient Roman deity Saturn, known as Cronus to the ancient Greeks as Satan. Also consider the Ouroboros, the occult depiction of a snake eating its tail in cosmic space. All these false deities have to do with time, death, agriculture, the harvest, regeneration, cycles, etc. Revelation 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. The English word Saturday is derived from its Latin root word Saturni dies, meaning Saturn's day. And the Latin word Saturni dies is derived from the translated Greek word Chronou Hemera, meaning the day of Cronus.
On the 17th of December 497 BCE, the Saturnalia festival was celebrated for the first time in ancient Rome. Created to mark the anniversary of the foundation of the Temple of Saturn in the Roman Forum, the Roman festival of Saturnalia was dedicated to the god Saturn, who was believed to have ruled over a golden age of agricultural abundance. The festival saw the suspension of the usual social norms, and the people of Rome engaged in lively celebrations. Saturnalia originated as a 3-day festival that began when the wool that was normally bound around the feet of the statue of Saturn was removed. The first day also saw a public banquet, which was preceded by a sacrifice at the temple of Saturn itself. With the formal elements of the festival complete, the subsequent days, which ranged from 3 to 7 days during the Roman period, were given over to the private celebrations for which the festival is perhaps best known. The usual social hierarchy was reversed, and for the duration of the festival, slaves were treated to banquets, while activities that were usually discouraged became commonplace. Romans from all social spheres were known to engage in gambling, alongside excessive eating and drinking, and all overseen by a chaotic king of the Saturnalia, who was chosen at random, drawn by lot. The end of Saturnalia saw people exchange small gifts made of wax or other simple materials. This part of the festival saw the more crazed revelry begin to subside, ahead of a return to normal social behaviour. Nevertheless, the writer Pliny the Younger recorded in one of his many letters how he preferred to avoid the festival altogether by moving to some of the more secluded rooms of his villa, while the rest of the household celebrated.
Let's read the Wikipedia definition of the pagan deity Saturn. Saturn was a god in ancient Roman religion and a character in Roman mythology. He was described as a god of time, generation, dissolution, abundance, wealth, agriculture, periodic renewal, and liberation. Saturn's mythological reign was depicted as a golden age of abundance and peace. After the Roman conquest of Greece, he was conflated with the Greek titan Cronus. Saturn's consort was his sister Ops, with whom he fathered Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto, Juno, Ceres, and Vesta. They're staring at an image of Saturn with his head protected by a winter cloak, holding a scythe in his right hand, a fresco from the house of the Dioscuri at Pompeii, Naples Archaeological Museum. Time magazine. Sometimes the meaning behind words is often overlooked. Think about the expression "I'm trying to kill some time." Daniel 7, verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. Consider the Wikipedia definition of the deity Saturn that I just read. Now consider the title of this article that was published by the Sun-Times. Trump declares 2024 campaign, laments lost American golden age. There are many marketing logos with Saturn symbolism. Look at the hexagonal rings, circular rings, cubes, etc.
Everything that lives must one day die, right? Well, maybe not everything. Consider the Hydra. It's named after a many-headed monster from Greek mythology. Chop off one head and 2 grow in its place. That myth isn't too far from the real Hydra's death-defying abilities. They're cousins to jellyfish. See the resemblance? But Hydra live in freshwater. Its body is a hollow column with walls only 2 cells thick. Its head is just a bunch of tentacles surrounding a mouth, no eyes or brain. The whole thing is about as long as a grain of rice. The hungry Hydra stretches out its tentacles to snag swimming prey. Microscopic harpoons hook the water flea, injecting it with paralyzing neurotoxins. Then, it's down the hatch. The Hydra uses those nutrients to make more Hydra. Check out this bud. It's a clone sprouting right from the Hydra's side. Hydra can reproduce sexually too, but most often, they just clone themselves. Chip off the old block. Hydra are constantly regenerating their own bodies too, replacing all of their cells every 20 days. They can do that because roughly half of the cells in their bodies are stem cells, which can develop into all the different types of specialized cells you need to build or rebuild a body. Stem cells only make up a tiny percentage of our bodies, and our stem cells degrade over time. That's why we age. But a hydra can make near-perfect copies of its stem cells, basically forever. It's called non-senescence, biological immortality. Having all those stem cells allows Hydra to recover from all kinds of damage. All right, here we go. No body? Not to worry. No head? No problem. As long as the chopped off chunk has some stem cells, it's ready to regrow. In a couple days, the severed head has a new body. And the foot, it's got a brand new head. Soon, they'll both be as good as new, except for maybe some lingering trust issues. To test the limits of their ability to recover, researchers came up with an experiment. This hydra is genetically engineered so that under ultraviolet light, its exterior cells glow purple and interior ones glow green. Scientists basically blend up a bunch of these hydra, leaving a heap of mixed up cells. Right away, the cells start reorganizing. Those purple outer layer cells migrate out. The cells from the inside squirm back into the center. The hydra dumps cells from the interior to restore its hollow shape. The stem cells start dividing and differentiating to rebuild the rest of the animal. Soon a head starts to form. Sometimes a few little heads compete to be the new top. After a few tumultuous days, what was once a mixed-up pile of cells takes on a familiar shape. Researchers hope to harness Hydra's ability to regenerate, to someday slow human aging, or even regrow damaged organs. Maybe this tiny monster will one day show us the way to the mythical fountain of youth.
Many of us are aware that the Dragon Juice 19 clot shots are full of goodies, and by goodies, I mean graphene oxide, water parasites like Hydra vulgaris, nanoparticles, Hec-2-9-3, quantum dots, animal deoxyribonucleic acid, and so much more. Let's continue to warn others to evict the lies, and diligently seek the truth concerning these gene-editing, induced triple helix formation abominations. I wonder if there are any connections between the Dragon Juice 19 clot shots, the freshwater parasites known as polyps or Hydra vulgaris that are in some of the clot shots, and the long to very long, twisted, inorganic, worm-like looking, fibrous, structural clots that funeral directors and embalmers have been pulling out of the coronaries, arteries, and organs of the dead bodies of the Beer 19 jab people all over the world. On August 20, 2021, Dr. Robert Young published his team's findings. The clot shots that were studied by Dr. Robert Young and his team were Pisser, AstraZeneca, J&J, and Medemna. Graphene oxide was present in all the different shots, and trypanosoma was found in the Pisser and the AstraZeneca shots. You can find the links highlighted in blue in the description section and the comment section of today's video. The recommended temperature range for storage and transportation of Pisser's chimera is between -70 degrees Celsius and 10 degrees Celsius. The trypanosoma samples are cryogenically preserved for laboratory storage and transportation in a temperature range of -80 degrees Celsius to -60 degrees Celsius. According to Dr. Robert Young and his team, the visual evidence from multiple sources indicate what appears to be Hydra vulgaris in some of the Clot 19 shots. It's anyone's guess as to why these freshwater polyps might be in there. I recommend pausing the video or slowing down the play speed to read the side effects listed in the first few paragraphs of this page. This might come off as old news to many of us, but again, we have watched Stu Peters' documentary appropriately called Died Suddenly. Those black coarse coffee grounds-looking materials found in the blood of the deceased Beer 19 inoculated people's blood appear to be graphene oxide. You can find Stu Peters' documentary link in the description and comment section of today's video. I'm going to quickly go over some screenshots that I took from the video you just watched about the holographic presentation and firework display during the 2021 New Year in Seattle, Washington. This event happened 2 weeks after Americans and people all over the world started to get the Dragon Juice 19 clot shots. The first thing that caught my attention were the word Seattle Space Needle or syringe. Do these holograms look a lot like digital connectivity symbols? Or male sperm symbols? This hologram looks like human deoxyribonucleic acid. This hologram represents the sigil of Saturn, also known as Saturn's cube or Satan's cube. Here it is again. Look right above the top of the Seattle Space Needle to see the sigil of Saturn hologram more clearly in blue. I believe these red and blue spherical holograms represent human plasma cells dividing and merging. These holograms represent jellyfish swimming in water. There is so much subliminal messaging and witchcraft being displayed in these holograms. I believe these colorful holograms represent Hydra vulgaris tentacles. Hydra vulgaris, as previously stated, are freshwater polyps or water parasites. Check out the egoic lotus hologram above the tentacle holograms. Here you can observe a hologram of the planet Saturn, according to the heliocentric astronomical model. And here it is again. Finally, we can observe a holographic transhuman, chimera, Nephilim, dancing near the Seattle Space Needle.